Hi, everybody. Okay, so I thought about a topic before. I'm going to talk about that for the most part, but then I'm going to add a bunch of stuff, so it's going to be a bunch of odds and ends. Okay. The reason I'm focusing on Y&R is because I feel like they need something to punch it up or change it up or something. Because I've noticed this for the last year for sure, that they tend to stick with a storyline for a really long time, and then they finally close it, and you're not happy with how they ended it. You're like, I waited 3 months for that. Okay. And then they always use the same characters, which is great. Okay. That means they really like them. However, I have seen Sharon Newman get kidnapped, rescued, and whatever 3 times this year. At least three. And then here's what happens: Sharon gets kidnapped. And then Nick comes to the rescue, Joshua, and then they throw in just for kicks that they might get back together, but then they never do. And then Nick somehow gets injured in it, and then miraculously they come home. And then for about a week or two, nothing happens. And then Sharon is thrown into another thing for another month. 3 times this year. Okay. And then let's talk about disappearing characters. Okay. So Devon and Lily. Let's start there. And I'm gonna say some stuff that might be controversial, but I don't really mean to be, but I'm just speaking the truth from my viewpoint. Okay, now it seems to be that Brighton James and Crystal Khalil only get used during February and holiday time. Black Black History Month is February, if you're not aware. So they get used a lot then. And then they get put on the shelf for months. And then they might make appearances at weddings and certain events like that. And then they get thrown back wherever they are and never heard from again till next year. So, so yeah. And then Lily, the only reason Crystal Khalil is being used this much is because they are trying to put back Lily and Kane. And the reason I say trying, and it's obvious, is because another history lesson for all the people who didn't listen to the first history lesson I gave. Okay, Lily has been on the show forever. Um, she was on the show when I was a teenager, so I grew up with her. And then she kind of disappeared for a little bit, but she came back as a woman and with grown children and whatever at that point. And then the other sad part was we lost Christoph St. John, so Neil Winters was written out. Very sad, very sad. So okay, that was okay because it was like real. But now they're forcing the Kane and Lily relationship again. And I say forcing because he had a chance to be with Phyllis. Now he chose not to be with Phyllis anymore because she lied to him. And like I said, trust is the building block to any good relationship, right? Okay, so, but they have no one else to put Kane with at all. So they're gonna have Lily and Kane again. And I say the stepping stone for that is they're going to the retro party for the beginning of Avid Communication. Yeah, Avid Communication. So it's a 50s dress party. Okay. Like all the people are gonna be dressed in 50s stuff. And it just so happened today that Lily didn't really want to go because they had a scene with Lily and Devon. And Lily is telling Devon she doesn't really want to go, but she's thinking about it. She's either thinking about sending her regards or just being nice to all the people she knows and then whatever. And then Kane happens to walk in the door and he says, I'll take you. I really want to take you. And she's like, no, if we go, we're not going as a date because she knows she gives him any bit of encouragement as far as the relationship front, he's going to try to get in a relationship again, but not just like get in a relationship, like jump from you hate me to we're in a relationship. And she said, no. Okay. But I can see it coming a mile away because they're gonna have they're gonna go to a party. He's gonna be extra charming, and then they're gonna end up in a couple again. Just at the end of the year, perfectly way to tie up 2025. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so on to the thing about cliffhangers. Now, when I was growing up, in the 90s because I was a kid in the 90s. Okay. Um, they had what's known as a cliffhanger. And for anybody who doesn't know, I'm going to give you a little lesson. Cliffhangers would happen on Fridays to hang over the weekend, so entice viewers to come back on Monday. This is a device used on many soap operas and many everything to get you to watch again. Only thing is, you don't really see it on a show that's only on once a week because why would they need to? You're either going to come back or not. But apparently on Friday night or Fridays, they thought it was necessary to have a cliffhanger on Fridays. Now I think the cliffhanger is gone because they just don't do that anymore. I mean, it's like they continue stories, but there's no element that has to be solved by Monday anymore. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah. But I don't know. I just want to see something different. Like, I want to see new people. I want to see the aftermath of something that happens and see how everybody reacts to something. Or, like, a good celebration that you can't see coming from a mile away. Or something that's just new. Um, that's what I need for the soap opera. And I would say overarching, they need to have something like that so that they can carry on. Because um, if I'm bored, there's got to be a percentage of the viewing that's bored too. Because I mean, not to say I need to be stimulated all the time, but if I can tell what's going to happen before it happens, it's not fun. So I don't know. All right. Bye, everybody.